Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Mudit Gupta. I'm a partner with Ernst & Young, also known as EY, and I'm within the financial services team. Today, I have a pleasure of speaking with Cindy Tu. She's the director of IT and data audit at Discover Financial. Let's say you solve this, data problem. You've selected your best in class LLM or LLMs, and you've even gotten the approval from the desired risk management authority to move forward.
Mhm.
When it comes to stakeholders, so these are line of business owners, right, or functional leaders. They have an expectation, like every technology promises, right? There is an expectation of productivity, right?
Yep.
However, the confidence in the technology, that gap I was mentioning in the beginning from POC to production, right? That road is on confidence. So uh, the stakeholder confidence in the technology still tends to be relatively low than what you really need it to be for the adoption to improve and accelerate, right?
Mhm.
So are there any tips you have for the listeners around engaging the stakeholders, right, in differently early to over time improve that confidence? Because otherwise it's like another technology that's going to sit on the shelf. It's going to look great. It's going to do a great demo, but it's not going to give you any improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Like risk management is definitely my favorite topic, right? But to your point, how do we, while balancing the risk management, still drive that innovation? Because, without innovation, like we could become obsolete pretty soon, right? So that trust with the stakeholder, and to your point, the three lines of defense, right? Your second line partners, third line partners, and legals and compliance and IT model, right? Like all of these stakeholders have to be involved in the process to assess the overall risk. I think that something I would recommend is that, as you are saying about the process from POCs to production, I would say involve all your stakeholders in monitoring and validating the model outcome, right? To a point, the LLM, right? Like in order for them to ensure that it's not going to do any damage to the financial services company, right? Or, like the actual trust, in the LLM model and its output, I think the only way for us to get comfort around it is really just, involve them when they are validating the outcome of the LLM and seeing what everything is and demonstrate what the GenAI model can do from a productivity, increase productivity and reduce expense and maybe just accelerate any of the innovation that we want to do, right, in the technology space and data space. So I think that will help really just engage them frequently and early on, right, to your point, so that they know they have transparency on what the overall process look like, and they have a say in the process, and they have witness firsthand what the model can do, from productivity perspective and the outcome perspective, so that they can have more trust and maybe they can be a champion then in the future, GenAI use case and to help push these through the governance framework so that, in the company itself, that while we're balancing, clean up the data and risk management, mitigate any of the data security, privacy risks, still be able to be a champion to drive the innovation and to, propose even maybe new GenAI use cases in their lines of business.
Right. You make a good point because we always talk about, hey, engage early, and engage fast, but sometimes it becomes cumbersome and we tend to take the easy route. But the technology is relatively new, and
Mhm.
it's still evolving. If you engage people along the way, the key stakeholders along the way, that'll actually build their confidence as opposed to just going away and doing some build and coming at the tail end for some level of approval. At that point, you really haven't given an opportunity for them to have, to your point, transparency, which
Yeah.
is which is one of the biggest risks. It's considered a black box type technology, But if you at least go through the exercise of partnering and collaborating along the way, that would go a long way in improving the confidence over time. It's going to be painful, right? It's
Yeah,
going to
it will be. It will be time
keep,
consuming too. It's not an
right?
easy process.
Yeah, yeah. But the it's not going away. So it's not like we won't do it the first time. So it'll
Yeah.
go, right? So at some point you're gonna have to go through that exercise, right?
Yeah, that is an investment that you have to make in
Yeah.
order to get the comfort around it and be able to get the buy-ins. And yeah,
Yeah. I
absolutely.
want to I want to raise another a point related to that. You mentioned engaging these stakeholders, right? So we just continue the story I was saying, right? Like we play that forward. Now we got the stakeholders engaged, right? And we've got a forum. Let's just say it's a mix of legal and privacy and technology architecture, right?
Mhm.
This question has been coming up around literacy, right? Whether it's known as digital literacy or
Uh-huh.
talent development. Uh, so does this group of stakeholder, right, have that desired level of uh, digital literacy? I'll just use that term for a minute,
Mhm.
to essentially participate and help again move forward, accelerate what we want to do with AI. And you know what is it that the financial institutions be thinking about as it relates to improving this literacy?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I am a strong believer that, just, from your perspective, like the digital, fluency, right? Like in terms of not just AI, but also data, right? Um, that it has to be a training program for everyone in the company. It cannot just be, hey, for data steward, data owner, that is the only one that's going to get the data training, right? Because in order for everyone to understand what are the data risks that is relevant for financial services industry, 'cause look, like even auditors, we handle confidential data and information on a daily basis, right? You can't just say, well, we're not the one, producing any data product, therefore we don't need a data training. No, like that's not the case. Like in order for us to have that level of understanding of what data we own, how much data we handle, what the classification of the data, and how do we secure it, we need a enterprise program on data and AI to say, hey, what are the risks that we're trying to safeguard here? And what is our duty as our individual role in the company to help make this a success, right? And how does, like your data strategy, your AI strategy align with your business objective? And what is our role as our individual in the company to make it happen as well, right? That's our goal. That's our role, right? So I think that I'm a strong believer that if you have any type of training program for data and AI, it has to be enterprise wide. And obviously, you're going to have different personas in terms of, hey, is your daily operations and responsibility handle data, right? And producing data product or ensuring that you have complete and accurate data. You have a different type of training program and training paths than auditors, right? So we may just need a more basic understanding of the data and data risk and how do we secure that and how do we audit that, right? But like you will have different persona, but regardless of what your role is, that training program has to be enterprise wide. And it's better if you can actually build into your existing training platform because, as a financial services company, because the regulation, we always have compliance training, right? And that's already existing. So just bake it into there and make sure that you build different paths for different role. And that way, that is the foundation because without the right talent in the right place, you, any of the data program, AI program is not going to be successful. You need people to make it happen, essentially. Yeah.
Interesting how you put this the same level as compliance training, because you're basically raising a point that this is a must-have uh, technology.
Absolutely.
Time it's not going to go away, and the sooner you become more comfortable with it, more savvy with it, right? Now, you don't have to know how to build a large language model. Some people may need to know that, but not everybody. But at a minimum,
Yeah,
you need to know how to use it. You need to know when not to use it. You need to
exactly.
know how to look at the output, how to validate what output you're getting against, what you are getting, manually, you really need to be able to do that. And then the fact that the investment in training, which tends to get more on the technical side, needs to also include broad audience. But very, very interesting point that you raised. I hadn't thought about that. That if you're doing a compliance training, it's required, right? Every 6 months or once a year. Why wouldn't you have this? That's super interesting.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
truly appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for those insights for the listeners. Thank you for joining. For more interviews and any more insights, please also feel free to visit the cdomagazine.tech website.